In an age where swords sang a more potent song than words, and territory was etched into maps with blood and steel, a battle of monumental scale was about to unfold, one destined to reshape the annals of history. The sun's first rays pierced the morning mist, illuminating a sky thick with dust. Across the plains, the thunderous rhythm of war drums echoed, a heartbeat for the coming conflict. From his vantage point, on a rocky outcrop, Commander Arslan surveyed his army. They were a force weathered by countless skirmishes, their bodies aching with exhaustion, yet their spirits remained unbroken. A fire of fierce determination burned in every soldier's eyes. Before them, the enemy stretched out like a boundless ocean of shields and spears, a formidable sight that seemed to swallow the horizon. The battle ignited, not with a grand strategy, but with a single guttural roar that ripped through the tense silence. It was the signal. Cavalry surged forward, a living tempest of men and beasts, their hooves pounding the earth into submission. The first clash of steel was a deafening symphony of violence, so ferocious that sparks flew like fleeting stars against the grim backdrop of war. The air became a chaotic mixture of sounds, the sharp ring of blade against blade, the splintering of wooden shields, the desperate cries of the wounded, and the guttural shouts of warriors. The metallic tang of blood mingled with the scent of damp, churned-up earth, creating a perfume of conflict that would linger long after the last sword fell. This was the brutal reality of their world, a reality where survival was measured in inches and seconds. In the swirling heart of this maelstrom, Arslan was not a distant commander shouting orders from the safety of the rear. He was a warrior, shoulder to shoulder with his men, his own blade tasting enemy blood. He moved with a deadly grace, a whirlwind of steel and fury, his presence a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. He believed that true leadership wasn't about dictating from a throne, but about sharing the risks and bleeding on the same ground as his soldiers. He knew, with an instinct honed by a lifetime of war, that victory is a phoenix born from the ashes of disorder. He parried a blow from a hulking brute, his shield groaning under the impact, and countered with a swift, decisive thrust. Around him, his personal guard, the Immortals, fought with a disciplined ferocity, a solid rock against the tide of enemy soldiers. As the day wore on, the battle became a grueling test of endurance. The initial, furious energy gave way to a grim, attritional struggle. Men fought on pure instinct, their movements becoming slower, heavier. The sun beat down mercilessly, baking the blood-soaked ground and turning armor into ovens. Formations that had been meticulously drilled began to fray and dissolve under the relentless pressure. Soldiers fell, their individual stories ending abruptly in the mud and chaos. Banners, once held high as proud symbols of their cause, wavered and dipped, threatening to collapse entirely. The initial momentum had stalled, and a sense of dread began to creep into the hearts of Arslan's men. They were outnumbered, outflanked, and slowly being ground down. Whispers of doubt spread like a contagion. Was this the end? Was their valiant stand destined to become just another forgotten tragedy? Defeat seemed not just possible, but inevitable. The enemy, sensing their advantage, pressed harder, their cheers growing louder, more confident. It was in this moment of near despair, with his army on the brink of collapse, that Arslan's mind raced. A conventional fight was lost. A retreat would mean annihilation. There was only one path left, a sliver of a chance wrapped in monumental risk. He gathered his remaining cavalry, a small, exhausted contingent, and made a decision that would either be hailed as genius or condemned as folly. He would lead a desperate, all-or-nothing charge directly into the enemy's flank, aiming for their command center. It was a move that defied all military doctrine, a wild gamble that staked everything on the element of surprise and the sheer audacity of the act. With a final rallying cry that cut through the din of battle, Arslan spurred his horse forward. His men, their faith in their commander absolute, followed without hesitation. They became a spearhead of pure desperation, carving a path through the less defended rear of the enemy lines. The enemy, focused on the frontal assault, was caught completely off guard. Confusion rippled through their ranks. Orders were shouted, but went unheard in the ensuing panic. Their seemingly unbreakable formation, the source of their strength, now became their weakness. The tightly packed soldiers had no room to maneuver, to turn and face this new, unexpected threat. The assault was a lightning strike, swift, shocking, and devastating. The enemy's morale, once sky-high, shattered like glass. What began as confusion turned into a disorganized retreat, and the retreat quickly became a full-blown rout. As the sun began its descent, casting long, somber shadows across the battlefield, the clash of swords finally subsided. An eerie silence fell over the plains, broken only by the groans of the wounded and the whisper of the wind through the tall grass. The land, now a canvas of devastation, stood as a silent witness to the immense trial that had been endured. Victory had been achieved, but there were no triumphant cheers, no joyous celebrations. Instead, a heavy, profound silence hung over Arslan's surviving soldiers. They stood amidst the fallen, both friend and foe, their faces streaked with grime and blood, their eyes reflecting a deep shared understanding. They had won, but the cost was etched into the very soil beneath their feet. In that quiet moment of reflection, every man understood the true, brutal price of war. This day wasn't just a victory, it was a testament to sacrifice. That battle was forever etched into the scrolls of history, remembered as one of the fiercest ever waged. Its legend grew not just from the sheer volume of blood that was spilled, or the strategic brilliance of the final, desperate maneuver. It was immortalized because it stood as the ultimate proof of an enduring truth, that the unyielding courage of a few, when bound together by sacrifice and led by unwavering conviction, possesses the power to bend the arc of destiny and change the fate of nations. Arslan and his men had not just won a battle, they had forged a new future from the fires of chaos. Thank you for watching. If you were captivated by this story of courage and sacrifice, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next journey into history. See you next time.